Welcome to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish.
And we're back from vacation.
We're back in business. Feels like it's been forever because it kind of has.
Right?
But we had our vacations overlapped, but they also were
right.
And then
mine was in the middle of yours.
And then just our schedules.
I know. And just when you get back from traveling, it's just so exhausting.
I know, literally, because, you ended up not being able to record on Sunday, but I literally fell asleep. So it's I couldn't either, obviously. I'm I didn't think I was that tired, but apparently I am to fall asleep at 9 o'clock.
I know. We, on our way there, we tried to leave earlier in the morning. And it literally took us, we had stops, but 14 hours to get there. It was, because it's we had to feed the kids and get them out a little. And then the one stop took kind of a long time, because we got food and it was taking forever. And that was just
But the kids are what does it.
Yeah, it's we can't go a ton. And when I tell you that my little one would not sleep that whole time. He slept maybe 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And finally we just put shows on and just let them watch shows because he would not sleep. And so the trip there, and then it's we got there and I just it was just such a long day.
Yeah. Because what time did you get there then?
I don't even remember. Maybe 7, and then we got caught in traffic and stuff too. So it was just a night. And the kids weren't bad. It just, you have to stop when you have kids.
Right.
It's
and it's just when you're driving, you I don't know, you want it to be as relaxing as possible, and then you're trying to entertain the kids, and then if they're not sleeping, that makes it worse.
It's crazy. And then on our way back, we left in the night, which we got home quicker, and the kids slept a little bit more, or our oldest one did, but he would keep waking up, and then he'd be mad he was up. But it took less time. But I'm this is just too much with kids, because if it would have been him and just me, we probably could have stopped once.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to stop too much, and we didn't really have to feed the kids,
right?
Because it was at night, but it was just too much. And then I was kind of being a little bratty, and I was looking up all these closer places. I'm we could have been in freaking Toronto, and it's it doesn't even have to be a city. It can be in these other areas that are just so much closer.
I know. Did everybody else drive too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the one set of siblings, they were already down there because they went with the in-laws
on the other side. Yeah.
And then the other ones, they kind of split the trip up. But I was even if we would have split the trip up, it still would have been we still would have.
It would have been the same. Yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't have really changed anything, in my opinion. And then you would have to kind of unpack, repack.
Yeah.
To an extent. So that was just.
That's what when I go up to Michigan, that's 11 hours. But when I used to go up with my aunt and then her husband and 2 kids, I would be in between the 2 car seats in the back. And it would literally take 14 hours with them. Yeah. And it is not fun traveling with the kids. And then me being in the middle, it was so hard to sleep or do anything. And then I would have the one cousin who was 2 years older on the one side, he was just an annoying kid. He just was. And then he never would leave me alone. He went through a phase where he would pull my hair, and then I'm trying to not make it a big deal because then he's gonna get in trouble, and then he's gonna cry, and then he'll wake up the younger one, and then it's they're both crying and I want to die because we're in this car. It is just,
it's torture.
And even if you plan, like, I have all these activities,
right?
You just don't know how it's gonna go.
I know. No, you really just don't. And then it's like, yeah, and then you're like, okay, let's listen to a book, and then there's all the talking, and it's like, so you can't do that, and you're gonna listen to a podcast, can't do that, and it's just like, okay, fine, we'll just play movies. But I mean, when we were younger, you couldn't really do that.
Yeah, I know.
Suffer.
It was like I would have my Game Boy, and then when it died, it was like well,
after an hour and a half,
I guess I'm screwed.
I know. It's so much. And I was thinking too, I'm like, I cannot believe people and this sounds so dumb, but used to do it with a map.
Oh, yeah.
Like when my mom talks about like her parents and her, and they would just like have the map and they drive straight down to Florida because they're whatever. They had family members down there, but it's like, how did you do this?
Yeah, seriously.
And they had the worst cars.
Right. Like, and like the map, I mean, what a hazard. Like those maps were huge. And like they're small. So you're trying to find the highway, the road. Like it is wild.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, long distance travel like that, I don't know. It's
just so.
And for me as an adult, like if I'm driving myself, like when I go up to Michigan, I start to go stir crazy.
You're like, get me out of here.
So like,
I know.
With kids, it's just.
I know. Well, and then it's like, you're like, okay, we have 100 more miles left, 2 more hours left. You know, it's like it's like nice to have the GPS and like the estimated arrival time, but when you can see that and you're like 4 more hours.
And it felt like 3 hours went by and it was actually like 20 minutes.
I know, you're just like staring. You're like looking at the road, looking at that. It's like, it's almost distracting. Oh gosh. But I do want to tell you about my dog. Those of you who know about the little white dog. So I think I had said before that we used that app.
Oh yeah.
Well, of course, the original lady cancels the day before.
Oh no.
Which we just kind of like, she kept asking like these weird questions. I'm like, she doesn't want to watch the dog. Well, then my husband found a new lady on the website, and she was so sweet, and she was actually closer up here.
Yeah.
She was like super into it. They talked on the phone, you know, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Everything was good. Then we get like a message on the app, and the lady's like, I'm worried about zombies, acting really lethargic and, you know, not really doing much. And we're like, that's normal. Sorry, it's kind of funny now, but it's actually not funny. Yeah. We're like, you know, that's pretty normal. He does that. Just, you know, let us know or whatever. And then it's like another day or two. I'm really worried about Zombie. He's like not moving.
Oh my God.
He's like not eating, not drinking. You know, he can barely walk.
Oh my God.
Like all these really tragic things. We're like, okay. You know, he really just does this and blah, blah, blah. Like he just does this. Then we get a call, a message. Okay. And she's like, I'm really worried about Zombie. I think he's going to die.
Oh my God.
We're like, okay. So we call her, and this is like kind of like in the morning. And this is kind of like towards the end of our trip. We're like, do you think he can hang on? Because it's like, I just couldn't get in my head that he had cancer this whole time, and it's just acting up as soon as we left. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so she's like, okay, you know, I have a doctor's appointment, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna, you know, and then when he comes back, and she goes, the night before, I kept waking up and checking on him, make sure he's breathing. That morning, we looked at a video of him. We're like, can we FaceTime you? Let us look at him. Yeah. Maybe that can help. And I mean, he was like, he's like looking. It wasn't funny at the time, but and like just, now.
I don't know where this is going, but
the dog is alive. Right here. You know, completely fine. And he's like squinting his eyes, looking up. And then he just drops his head. And we're like, oh, gosh. So then it was like that night. She's like, I think he's dying. Like, he's dying. What do I do? Can I get him into a vet? And she's like trying to call these vets. She can't get in or whatever. And the vet we have, we don't really, whatever.
Yeah.
She's like, there's this ER up here, which we've been to that ER for our cat, R.I.P. And so we knew about that. We're getting all this information. You know, it's like we had to sign off on all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like it's getting really like dramatic.
Right. And you're so far away.
We're so far away. There's literally nothing we can do. We're like, do we leave now? I mean, like, what do we do? We're signing on this like consent forms to like put him down if he needs to put down. God. Like just all this tragedy. They go, you know what? My husband's getting so upset because it's like, and the woman is so upset. She's crying. We're like, you know, then we're like comforting her. We're like, we're so glad the dogs are with you.
Yeah.
You know, you care
like
so much.
Yeah.
I know. Oh my gosh, it was so bad. And then he's like, you know, my husband's getting upset, like the dogs are dying. and then finally I'm like, we don't know, you know, that something's wrong with him. And then, you know, I start thinking, I'm like, well, I would have at least like to say goodbye to him. I mean, my God, it's
after
like
all these years.
I'm like, I don't want him to die, you know.
But can you just met him up until we get back?
Yeah, that's what we're literally like, okay. So she takes him to the ER, and we're like, basically can't sleep, you know, because they're like, is our dog dead?
Yeah.
Like, they do a scan on all, like, check all his organs and his stuff. Nothing's wrong. But they did hook him up to an eye. Now, I'm not saying that had she not taken him, like, he could have been dehydrated.
Is literally his
thing. I know. That's what I'm trying to, like, and then my husband's like, well, I don't care. He still would have died if they hadn't hooked him up to the IV from dehydration. I'm like, I'm not saying that wouldn't have happened, but he did this to himself.
Yeah.
So what they hooked him up to an IV or whatever and gave him anti-anxiety medication. I'm like, are you freaking? So then in the meantime, I call my mom the next day. They were also on vacation, which I told Mom she's not allowed to do that anymore because she has to watch the dog or he will kill himself.
Like he literally, this is like all the attempts he's had in the past.
I know. This was like he was going to do it. Like he was literally going to do it.
He was willing himself to die.
He literally and then she sent us videos of him and he was stumbling around.
Oh my God.
And then he'd just fall over. Like, it was insane. And then we're like, oh my gosh, she has a brain tumor because he's like going in circles. And then he was
delirious.
And he's like peeing on himself.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm talking level 10 dramatic. But, like, you don't know. And I'm like, we just can't. Like, we can't, like, get to him.
Yeah.
So then I talked to my mom because they had gotten home. I'm like, can you just go get the dog? Like, this poor woman.
Yeah.
So she goes,
sad.
I felt so bad. And she like washed him and everything. So my mom goes, and I'm like, and my mom was like out shopping. I'm like, get her something, like get her some kind of a gift. So she like got her a plant or whatever and took it over to her and went and got our dogs for that, you know, extra day. And Mom was like, she's like, I stopped giving him the medication because it was like making him like really like blah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he did better with her. Like he wasn't 100%. And then we like sent the lady gift cards and stuff. We're like, we're so sorry. I hope, because she was newer on the app. We're like, I hope this is traumatized. No. I know we're like trauma bonded with this woman. I mean, it was just so. And look at him.
Yeah, he's totally.
He's freaking fine.
Yeah,
like, he's really would. I'm like, if something happened to me and my husband, he would just have to die. He'd have to go in the casket.
Crawl in the casket.
Yeah, and he'd have to die with us. Like, it was so. I'm like, we literally can't get rid of the dog. Like,
drama,
he will die.
The absolute drama.
And of course, the ER bill was
astronomical,
insane
for nothing. And then you're just pissed.
Literally, I'm like, I freaking knew it. And then the whole time I'm like, you know, I'm like trying to calm my husband down, like, we don't know if anything's actually wrong. Let's see what they say.
To this lady, like, you guys probably at first seemed
I know,
horrible.
I know. I'm like, I don't. It's like, and she kept trying to tell us, and it's like, I feel bad that she was like, but I'm like, no, really, this is what he does, and it's like
he has a pattern of behavior. Well.
So there was that.
I guess I'm not surprised, but it's never gone to that level before. I know,
this was like fully, like he was ready to die.
And the fact that she FaceTimed you guys and he like
literally
so performative.
I wish I could have recorded the way he was like, she's like, look, and then his head will fall, and then...
And it's like he probably knew that you guys were on the video.
I'm like, here's our... It's just so freaking annoying.
You're just going to have to bring him everywhere with you.
Literally. I know, like, we can't... Like, every vacation's going to have to be, like, a camping vacation. Or my mom's going to have to watch him because he literally... Because he would do... Like, he's been with my husband's parents before, my parents. Even my dad has come over. And then we're like, maybe we should have had her stay at our house. Like, and he'll do it for a couple days, you know, but then he'll live. I mean,
this was the most extreme thing he's ever done.
I know, and it's like he didn't know her, but it just...
Oh, Winnie was fine.
Oh, literally, Winnie was totally fine. What a delight Winnie was.
Yeah.
And then anyway, we don't have to talk about that.
That poor woman.
I know, I felt so bad. We stressed her out so bad.
Oh, well, it all ended up okay, except you got this huge bill from
literally
the animal ER.
Like, gosh, we're like, it's just so...
That's where you have, like, I saw those on TikTok before where it's like this massive vet bill and they're like, how do you plan on paying for this?
It is like, I get like, it's a doctor appointment, but it's insane how expensive.
Well, and I mean, you can get pet insurance, but I mean, that's something that I don't know if I would like even think about that.
I know, and it's like on that one time a year, or once every couple of years where there's actually like an issue. Like, I mean, if you had like a dog with like needed insulin,
chronic,
it's like I could see that, but...
Yeah, I don't even know how much that would cost either. Like, if it's a big expense monthly, then that is something like, I don't know. And you guys, I mean, thankfully, I guess, kind of, not so much for you, but you guys don't go away that often. No. So you don't have to, like, worry about that all the time with him. Good God.
Just can't with the dog. I'm like, that little fart.
I thought you were going to say there actually was something wrong with them this time.
No. Nope.
They did every test imaginable.
Clean as a whistle or whatever.
Clean bill out.
Yep. As much. Yeah. I mean, it seems like he's got several years left.
Thank God.
I know.
Thank God.
Dream come true.
You're not going to be able to go on vacations for another like 7 years.
Yeah, honestly, like, you know, like some places are like, nope, dog. It's like, what do even? They don't shed.
Yeah.
It's like.
You wouldn't even know he was there.
Literally. It's like.
You need to make him an emotional support dog, but
it's
actually, like the other way.
Yeah, he needs me for emotional support. But my husband did get him registered as an emotional support animal, but I guess I have to start utilizing.
Yeah, you're gonna have to play that card because he's not gonna make it. Otherwise.
I need to register myself as emotional support.
Oh my God, that's funny. Well, when I was on vacation, I mean, I didn't really do all that much. So I read a couple books that I wanted to tell you about. The first one was called The Vulnerables, and I didn't write down like who they were by, but if anyone's interested, you can look it up. And then I feel like
even if I do know the author's name, I just butcher it.
I know, and I feel bad because it's like you took all this time to write this book, and I'm not even giving your name, but that one was good. It was like weirdly about like COVID time, but not in a really, really traumatic way. It was like about this woman and kind of like experiences. And it seemed like it could have been kind of based on her true life, but like she didn't say that it was. Yeah. And then it was about like her friends, and then she ends up during COVID, like her one friend was away and pregnant and then couldn't come back and ended up having to have her baby at this wherever they were. And then but she had a parrot and she needed somebody to watch the parrot. So that was like kind of half of the book was about that, which sounds weird, but it was actually interesting. And this woman kind of bonded with the parrot, and it was just, that was a good one. The second one I read was called There Should Have Been Eight, and it was kind of more of like a mystery thriller-y. Started out great. I was engaged. It was about like this one member of the friend group had died kind of under mysterious circumstances. Like the one sister said that she had taken her life, but there was always some like mystery surrounding everything. And then all the friends kind of get back together for a reunion at like the family's like home that's been in their family for centuries, whatever. And basically everybody just starts dying. And at that point, I think it was after the second, like the first person like got really ill, and then the second person died, and I'm like, this is going down a very strange path. And like things like weren't even really making sense anymore, and I really wanted to stop reading it, but then I was like, well, why not? Why would I not finish this? And then I felt like I had to finish it, and it was extremely disappointing. It was extremely disappointing.
Some books just have like the best concepts and everything, and then you're like, it's good, and then it's like,
like it was so like, I don't think you should ever read this book. I would not recommend it to people. So I'll just like tell you how insane it ended up getting. So the sister ended up like lying that her sister had died. She had put her in a mental hospital because she allegedly had these mental issues. And then this crazy person who was engaged to one of their friends, but like she was not who she said she was at all. She actually was a part of the mental institution where the sister was, and she doctored all this paperwork to make it seem like the sister did actually die. And then she like got the sister out, and then it was that crazy girl that was like literally offing everybody and like drugging everyone in this house, and just to expose the sister. And then the narrator was so bizarrely like in love with the sister who had allegedly died that she ended up being grateful to the psycho who like killed her friends and like ruined their life basically, and was like thankful for her and was like kept her secrets, and then she like let her other friend die. Like it was so bad. Like when I tell you the only way the ending could have been good for me was if like the narrator was put into a mental institution because of how unstable she was. Like it was that bad, and that didn't happen. And and she was losing her sight the whole time.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be... I know, and it's like, you're like, this is an original story, but it almost tried too hard to be...
Yes, it did.
Sometimes there's a good formula that you can work with.
Right. Like, it literally was like thing after thing after thing, and I'm like, you just threw the kitchen sink in here. Like, this is insane. So it was disappointing. And then after that, I was like, I'm glad that I read this one last, because I could just be mad about it. And at least the first book like was good, because I don't even know if I'd want to pick up the second one if the first one was bad. Like usually I'm not that bad at like judging books, but so yeah, there's nothing worse than just a book that you don't enjoy. But like I think only once in my life I stopped reading a book.
Yeah, that doesn't happen too often. Like, it's got to be really bad.
Yeah. And then I feel like I know that it's hard to write a novel.
Right.
But, like, how did some of these get written. Like, and like you listen to a lot of books too, but it's like sometimes when I go to the library to get a book, I'm so underwhelmed and it takes me forever to find something that I'd be interested in because so many things are just the same.
I know. And then like I get like I like to be on Book Talk or like Book Talk on YouTube Shorts or like even the what do they call it? BookTube or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like YouTubers and stuff. And I get all these recommendations and then I like put them on hold or put them on my wish list. And then and then you'll see in the comments like, oh, I love that book. I love that book. And then I don't know if like the hype gets too much or what. And then you're like, I didn't like it. Like, I feel like I literally, out of all like the audiobooks and stuff, and some of it might be like the narrator, but even that, it's like, there's not too many really bad narrators that I can't get through, but it'll be like, I feel like I can maybe count like 10 books that I loved.
Yeah,
I know. All the ones.
I know. And I tend to like older books more. I just feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just that we hadn't experienced as much as a society where it's like, it was easier to come up with unique ideas and compelling ideas. I don't know, but like there's so many books that are classics. It's like they're classics for a reason. And I think it's going to be kind of hard to have like the new classics, you know, like in another 50 years. Like, I don't think.
I mean? I just saw a YouTube video. I haven't watched it yet, but I have it on my save for later. And it was like reading the new classics. And
well, you'll have to give an update on that. Yeah.
The one that was in the thing I had started, but it was so long and I couldn't finish it before I had to put it back. And then I had to wait on hold again. But that one I was actually reading on a Kindle. But anyway, I'm curious to see what those are considered to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could just look it up online.
I know, but then to hear the person
talk about it.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. You'll have to let us know when you watch that.
Finally watch that video, a long form video.
I know.
If I can handle it.
I'm trying to think of this. Oh, the other thing, I started watching the new season of Love Island UK because it just so happened when I started my vacation, so did Love Island UK. And I'd never watched it before, but I quickly became obsessed with it. And it's on every night except for Saturdays. So it's literally like...
Is it live?
Well, I mean, pretty much. Like, when I'm reading, like, they'll have stuff in the paper, like, the next day that kind of, like, recaps or whatever. And they were in Mallorca, I believe. And they were talking about this storm that was coming through. And they were worried because it's going to disrupt filming. And they've only been there for, at that point, it was, like, 2 weeks. So it literally was... Like, they film and then it comes out. I don't know if it's maybe a couple days. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that should be a format for reality shows.
Agree. Well, we've said that.
Yeah. And like, even the whole we won't talk about that, but it's like we were talking about that with Vanderpump was what a disservice it was to the fans just to have like a year later you're watching something that you already watched the whole year.
I know. And even just with like, we've said it before about the Kardashians too. I mean, it never used to be as bad where we would see all this stuff play out in the media and then it would be like, okay, almost a year later and I'm watching it now on the show. Like, I already know about it.
I know. And like, I feel like I remember us talking about that even way before, like being like, but we already read it all in the magazine and the interview, and then they had Instagrams.
Right.
And I'm following each other.
I know. And I know that with a show like Love is Blind, Love is Blind, they do like a year, but like Love Island, like I know that that's an easier format to literally, and like they're not like in my eyes, they're not like chopping things up
right.
so
or creating
a
storyline.
It to me, it seems more real. And of course, there's some people that like maybe do still self-produce, but you're never going to get away from that. But it's just like to have it come out literally so soon after it was filmed, and then it goes on all summer long. So they're there all summer. Like this is almost happening live.
Right.
Like it really is nice. And if they did that with Housewives and like it would be so much more compelling. And I think that the viewership would go up a lot, and it would change the dynamic with the cast because they wouldn't be able to like plant stories and be super calculated.
I know. Or even if we could do like 3 months after they film, like we can't be doing this 9, 10.
Because I'm sorry, like how much, I mean, and speaking about our podcast, I know that it's obviously not the same as like a whole ass episode of a reality show. But like we edit this in a couple days and then it comes out. Right. You know, it's like why? And they have so many more people on their team.
Right. And it seems like they're literally shooting scenes. Right. So it's not like they're like, oh, well, you know, we were with Sheena, you know, as she drove here, there, and everywhere. It's like they're not really doing that. Like they're literally just scenes they have to edit.
I know.
Like, come on.
Yeah, like it shouldn't be that hard.
No.
But anyway, back to the Love Island UK part. It was just, it's so fun. And it seemed to me that they really did cut down on drinking there too. And again, I never watched other seasons, so I don't know if they always had done this from the beginning or not. But it was kind of like Love is Blind, where they, for continuity, they have like the little champagne flask. Yeah. But yeah, like it just felt like the drama was more, and the pressure is on when like you have to be coupled with somebody in order to stay, and it's just interesting. And then when new bombshells enter the villa, it causes drama. And it's just really fun. So I'm sad because it is coming out on Hulu, but I have to wait like a week and then the episodes will come out. So I'm a week behind. I think that like today actually was the first episode that I didn't get to see is out on Hulu. And then I don't know if they're just going to release them like every day. I don't know how they're doing that. But it made me interested in Love Island USA, but I haven't watched that at all. And honestly, if they do the same format of it being every night, with my schedule now where I have to catch up on a lot of media content, I don't know if I can commit to catching up on Love Island when it is on every night.
I know, that's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy.
And is that on Peacock?
I don't know what it's on, because I was kind of wondering about that too. Not really to watch it, but I was like, I don't even know what this is on.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to watch it at some point, and you know what's interesting? The host of Love Island UK is basically never involved. So that's when because, you know, like I started watching it and then I was thinking about Ariana being the host. And I'm like, well, she's not even going to be a part of this. Like, this doesn't make any sense. But from little clips that I've seen, it seems like she's on it every episode, like very engaged with the cast.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder, though, if they, like, always do it with that version or if it's because they kind of have, like, this popular person.
Yeah, I know. Like, because Sarah Hyland did it before. I wonder if it was the same or not. Yeah, I don't know. But I do want to watch at some point. I just don't know when I will get to do that.
You know.
It's hard. It's hard to keep up with everything.
It really, like even the podcast since I've been back, I haven't really been listening to like my usual ones because it's kind of like, I don't know, I just want to like decompress on the schedule.
Yeah.
Even though, and I've like kind of been like looking for, not necessarily new podcasts, but you know, like different stuff just to listen to something different.
Yeah.
When I was on vacation, not to go back to vacations, but we didn't do like a whole lot, but the people I was with, they like to drink, but it's not like anyone was like drunk
right
or anything. But I don't like in those types of situations, they don't really want to like drink because I don't really see like the point
in just literally drinking all day.
Yeah, like all day.
A light beer all day long.
Like I don't, especially when you're, I mean, for me, especially if I'm out in the sun, like I just want to drink water. And then it's like if you're just like dealing with your kids, because I mean, for the most part, we kept our kids like on their normal schedule, maybe stayed up a little later, but other than that, it wouldn't be like, you know, this was pretty much a format, the whole vacation. We go to the beach in the morning, come back, eat lunch, swim in the pool. My youngest would take a nap. That was pretty much the format of the whole thing. And then like dinner inside, kids go to bed.
Yeah.
We go to bed at some point. So it was kind of like, I don't know. It's just kind of like,
so there was nothing that you guys did?
And like we probably could have gone and done something on our own, but it was kind of like...
But like, what's the point when you're on a family vacation?
Yeah, so I mean, we really didn't do much, but...
I mean, at least you were in a nice environment. You see the beach.
I know, like, it was nice to see the beach. But of course, my youngest was horrified of the beach.
Was he really?
Horrified.
Oh, my gosh.
Cried the whole time unless I was holding him.
He never, like, got in the water?
No, he didn't want to.
What the heck?
Which is weird because when I've taken him, like, because we live up by the lake.
Yeah.
And I've taken him to, like, the beach lake, and he, like...
Liked it,
was like fine with it, but no, he didn't want. And I mean, there was like waves, but they weren't like huge.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was a sound or if he was just nervous.
Yeah.
And then he was just like climbing all over me and like scratching me up with the
hot.
sand.
Yeah.
Like ripping my skin off.
Oh my gosh.
But so that was weird. But we did the one day some of the people didn't go and we did leave him, and that was like literally like it wasn't too hot. It was like the perfect beach morning.
That's good. But he liked the pool.
Yeah, he didn't swim a ton in the pool because we'd usually do it during his nap time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But he did like the pool. But actually, that was another thing where he had to like cling on to me like a little monkey. But he like didn't mind being in the water. Yeah. I don't know if he's just nervous, but he is kind of like getting a little clingy. Like I think it's just like a stage.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. So it was kind of like it just wasn't like, I don't know, like could I have used a drink? Maybe.
Yeah.
My back was killing me. Thought I probably could have used one.
Probably could have used something.
But anyway, piggybacking off of that, I was listening to one of the new canceled podcasts, and Tana has been sober for a little while, and she was talking about going back to drinking, and one of the things she was talking about was everyone around her drinks, and she's like, I'm bored when I'm with everybody. She's like, I'm having a good time with everybody. I love being around everybody, but I'm bored. And I was like, I definitely feel that way sometimes when you're around. And it's like, it's not that I don't drink or that I'm sober.
Yeah, you're just.
Sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to be like drunk and hungover the next day. Like it has to be.
But it is because like I've been in situations where like I just said I'm not drinking tonight or whatever when people go out, and it's like you almost feel out of the loop a little bit because even like when you're drinking, like things that you might not normally find funny or funny, and like you're doing like weird stuff, you know, like, but when you're sober, you're just like, this is dumb. Please stop.
Be here.
I don't want to have this conversation with you. Like,
I know
you're so aware.
Yes, of like everything and how like bored you are. And it's not even that, it's not always about bored, but sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how to explain it. And it's like, even, I don't know, but I just, when Tana was talking about that, I'm like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's such a weird.
Well, I also cannot imagine, like, I don't know what her and her friends do all the time, but if you're fully going for a night out and going to bars and clubs and whatever, like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do that sober all the time. I mean, that would be kind of like, what is the point?
I know. I mean, she does smoke marijuana, so it's not like she's fully
completely sober.
But yeah, I know. And especially to have your friends, like, because I mean, her whole group of friends, they're like partiers. Mm-hmm. And then she's like kind of like in this more committed relationship now. And it's like, so she's not really partaking in like the hooking up of drinking culture and stuff like that.
You know what is unfair? And I guess it's because neither of us like are super heavy drinkers. And I definitely noticed like like when I was in college, like I definitely was like heavier than I am now, especially like in my face and stuff. But you know, I'm never happy with how I look. So, but it's like people are like, oh yeah, I just stopped drinking and look at my face. It's so sculpted and I lost all this weight. And I'm just like, I don't drink that often. How come
but then I'm like, how much were you drinking?
That's so true.
It made a physical change when you stopped. Or even when I like, you know, just like listen to book. Like even when I was listening to Stassi Schroeder's book, her first one, I could not get over how much she drank. Like it was like drinking was life. Like,
I mean, you know, like when I was in college, and that's when, if I look back at pictures, like my face is so like round and chubby, but it's because it was like, okay, we'd go out on, you know, a Wednesday or a Thursday, and then we'd also go out on Friday and Saturday. So it was like 3 days out of the week that we were drinking heavily. Right. And it was always like beer or like freaking jungle juice that was packed full of sugar. Like it was never, and they also didn't have the variety of seltzers and stuff as they do now. Like I really think if they did have that back in the day, it would be different.
Yeah, because you literally were just like drinking
so many calories you were consuming. Yeah, it is. So, but I know when I was in Ireland, like I had like a couple glasses of wine, like over the whole time that I was there. And when I'm like at home, like there'll be times when I'll come home after like a hard day at work and I'm like, I just need to decompress. But like I don't really drink that often either. And then I went out with coworkers yesterday, like we went to Put-in-Bay, and that was the first time like in a while that I had like gone out and like really overindulged.
I know, and it's like, I know. Well, everything's fine in moderation. No,
but
I know.
I will say, like with hangovers too, like so this morning I was just like tired. You're just tired.
Yeah, it's like throws your schedule off.
And like I had a headache when I woke up, which mostly was probably because I was dehydrated. Right. So I just like took ibuprofen, drank water, and like slept for an extra couple hours, and then I was totally fine. But I do like back in the day, like in college, you just bounce back so fast. But my God, like there were some times where it just like hits you like a train, and I hate that. Like I that will make me stop.
Literally, like I don't want to lose a day.
Yeah.
And even like, and I do think like, even when we went out for that emo night a while ago, it's like, I wasn't great the next day. Like it took a while, but those were such sugary drinks. Yeah. It's like, it's like, you have to think smarter.
I know you really do. Drinking now. But it's hard because once you've had a couple drinks, like you might at first be like, no, I'm going to stick to this. Right. And then, you know, like, a couple hours
sugary shot. And it's like, they taste good.
I know, they do.
It's just like, no, I have to know this time, like, stay away from that. But
like, I need to just do tequila soda, you know, like literally
simple.
I know. But yeah, it is. I don't know. It's hard. Like I haven't really been on a vacation where it's like that, but I don't typically go on like a tropical or like beach vacation. I feel like it's for a lot of people, like it really is just like, all right, pack the cooler. We're heading, you know.
The cooler is everywhere. I know. But when I go on, I think too, like when I go on vacation, I have like something different in mind. Like I like to look at stuff and go like wander around. Like it doesn't have to be like a jam-packed full day, but sometimes I'm like, what if I never come back?
Right.
Like I want to see as much as I can.
Yeah, and it is different when you have the kids too. Because what are you going to do? I mean, I don't think that your husband was like bombed every day, but it's like, okay, but if you're both drinking all day long, it's like you're definitely gonna be buzzed at the very least. It's like, do you really want both of you to be like that? And then you know, everybody else that's with you to be like that. What are the kids doing?
Right.
You know, like
I know, and I guess that's kind of like, it's like, what's my goal on this vacation? Is spend time with people, not, you know, but like if me and you went on a vacation, I mean, I don't think we'd be trashed every day, but it's like we would probably like every time we went out to eat, let's get a couple drinks,
or we would have a night out or whatever,
like it'd just be like a different vibe.
I think of that though too, like with not having kids, like whenever, like even this morning, like if I had kids running into my bed at like 7 a.m. I would be like, that is rough. Like I was dog sitting and like he stayed the night at my dad's yesterday, even though I got home at like 10. I could have picked him up, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So then this morning I didn't want him to be by himself, so I like got him at 7 and I'm just like, I am ready to go back to bed. Luckily, he's a very lazy dog, so he was totally fine with just laying down and sleeping. But that's what I think about too. Like, I don't know how people do it when they have kids.
I know. I don't know how they do it either because I literally can't.
Yeah.
I know. I know. But
different lifestyle.
They don't mind.
Or you just get used to it. And, you know, I don't know.
It's like you can do enough to get them through the day.
Right.
Like you can give them enough to eat and enough things to do that you can just lay there while they're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess so. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. The other thing, I only watched one movie on the plane, but I watched Iron Claw that we had wanted to see, and I kind of forgot about it. And then I saw it on the thing. I'm like, I'll probably never see this again because I don't think it's on a streaming service.
It is on Prime, but you have to buy it. My mom got it, and then I went to go watch. Like I looked, I'm like, oh, I can still watch it because she's like, why don't you check it out because you'll still be able to watch it. I checked it. I could watch it. When I went to actually go watch it, it maxed out the time. No. I was so mad. I mean, I could have bought it, but
I would say like it was good. It was worth it. Yeah, but it was so like I was fighting for my life.
I know.
On the plane at the end, it was so sad. I mean, and
that's a book too, isn't it? I thought it was.
I don't know.
Too. Even though it's a true story, I thought
they definitely. For those of you that don't know, this is the movie that Zac Efron had drastically changed his look for. He was so, like, I don't know. I don't think that Zac Efron is unattractive, but
he got that work done on
the
his
jaw
face
thing, and he just wasn't as attractive as he's ever been in this film. But I was just in awe at his body. Like, and I don't like a beefcake, like, build. But I was just in such awe that, like, he got his body to look like that. Like, it was really, like, wow.
Right.
Like, you put the work in. Like, that is great. And, like, Jeremy Allen White, too. I'm like, wow. Like, you guys really. But, yeah, it's about the Von Erich family that were really big into wrestling, which I have never followed that. So, like, I never had heard of them.
I heard that the movie, there's more siblings.
There was an extra one. So I looked it up.
And then it was still tragic. Tragic.
It still was. I mean, I don't know why they didn't include the other sibling. Because
I mean, I haven't seen it, but I was like, that's kind of weird that they wouldn't even like.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, there's the one that died died when he was like 5, and they mentioned him in the film. But then there's another one, and I can't remember what even birth order he is, but there's another one that they just totally don't talk about at all. So there was a total of 6 of them, and then in the movie they acted like there were only 5. So that was weird. I don't know
what the choice was, or if they didn't. Who knows?
But I mean, and I'm not spoiling anything for you, but obviously you can like look up stuff on the family, and it'll tell you a lot about like the premise and everything. But the way that just hyper masculine, like toxic masculinity, like the way it was addressed in this movie was so heartbreaking. Like it was so hard to take it in, honestly. And then the way that things like ended, it kind of started to, like, you saw how those walls were being broken down with the one son, and it was like really like a beautiful thing. And I'm like, oh God, like I hope that this part is true and that you actually like tried to change. But the other thing that was interesting about like the real life was that there were more, like in the movie, they acted like none of the brothers except for one like got married and had kids. But in real life, that wasn't true. Like there were some other kids in the mix, and like a marriage or a divorce. So I thought that was kind of, I mean, I guess they probably did that just to streamline things.
Right. Or like have all these extra people for 5 seconds. That is interesting though, when you like look something up, like the real story, you're like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
That they, like totally left
like,
this out.
And you wonder, did they consult with the family?
Right. It's like, did they not want to be like mentioned in like this type of a thing? Or like what's going on?
But I would definitely recommend that to anybody to watch. I thought that Zac Efron did an amazing job. Like his acting was very good, in my opinion. Like he really committed to the role.
When that movie came out, chicks in the office are like, he needs to be nominated for an Oscar.
I mean,
it was so good. He is a good actor.
Yeah, he is.
I feel like he doesn't, because he kind of had like that like teen heartthrob Disney boy thing. But I mean, he still has had he's had really good comedic roles.
Like he does have range. I think.
And I feel like, I don't know. I don't know if they don't cast him right, or if he's like a little too like pretty sometimes.
Well, I'm hoping that with this drama under his belt, and I'm sure that he's done other things, but I don't think it was to this caliber and to this like acclaim. Hopefully that this kind of can change the trajectory of his career and get him more roles that are more serious and emotional, because he did a really good job. Like you believed that he was going through all of this.
Right. Like, I know my mom said he did really good too. But I did see he's coming in that new movie with Nicole Kidman.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I mean, I'm sure he's really funny in it, but I was like...
Well, and I would assume as an actor, you probably, like, it would be taxing to do
like an intentional
heavy films.
Yeah. And at that point, it's like, he'll like work consistently and then we won't see him and then he'll work consistently. So I feel like maybe that's part of it too. It's like, well, it's a job.
Yeah, right. Like he just,
fun.
He wants to pop out like 2 films a year and whatever. One's a comedy, one's a drama. I mean, whatever. That one with Nicole Kidman, what's it called? A Family Affair or something. Isn't that coming on Netflix? Or it's a streaming service.
Maybe it was. Could be. Maybe we'll watch it.
Yeah, I would watch it.
I know, it's like, he's fun.
I think he's a nice person.
I know, and every time I see an interview, like he was just on Tiger Belly or Bad Friends, I can't remember, one of Bobby Lee's podcasts, and I think it was Bad Friends, and he was so charming and like silly and like had like good comebacks and was funny. I'm like, he has charisma. He does, and he just seems fun.
What's going on with his love life?
I don't know. We know? Remember when he was like dating Michelle Rodriguez and like, what's her name? I can't remember her name, but she was in Baywatch with them. Alexandria, with the dark hair and the blue eyes.
Was that her last
That
name?
might be it.
Yeah, something. I know.
Like her.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there for a while there, he was like really dating
but
with
he
all
didn't
these young
have
gals.
like the only, I mean, serious relationship that we know of, like long term, was Vanessa Hudgens. And I mean, he's a little older than us, I think, right?
Yeah, but I don't think he's too. I know,
like
it seems
maybe a
like he
couple
should
years.
be like, because it felt like when we were younger, he was way older.
I know,
and
but
I'm
he
like,
really
oh,
wasn't.
He's like 2 years older.
I just heard him talking about like somebody asked him about Vanessa Hudgens
Yeah,
and
I
Ashley
saw that
Tisdale's
too.
baby. He's like, they'll be such great moms.
You're kidding?
I mean,
Those
like that's
girls.
so sweet.
I know. Oh, he's 36.
Okay,
so he's
that's
like
a little older than,
significantly
yeah, that's way
than-
older than I thought. Way older than us.
Is he? He's like older than Margot Robbie, right? Because she's like,
yeah,
and
isn't
Jennifer
she like
Lawrence.
33?
Yeah, I feel like she's like 33. And then, yeah, so that's crazy.
Still significantly older than us.
So, gosh.
But yeah, I mean, I guess it's so weird, the parasocial thing, to be like, I just want him to settle down, but like I want him to be happy and like find somebody.
Such a doll. And didn't he have like that like work? Like he would work out with celebrities, and it'd be like a series.
Oh my god! Wait, he did that. I can't think of what the show was called, but he like traveled all over the place. And
wasn't there like 2 things?
Yeah.
Like he did that, and then he did like maybe YouTube thing.
Yeah,
where he'd work out with celebrities.
I don't think I watched that one.
I didn't,
but I did watch the other one, and it was really like he went to all these different places, and it was like educational and fun. Like it was great. I think that was a COVID watch for me. It was a great show.
I know, he's so like, I don't know, he kind of seems like a Renaissance man.
Yeah, like I want to see more from Zac Efron. What else can he do? Yeah, we were so overexposed with him in our youth, and now we can't see him ever.
Like, give me more.
I know. Yeah, but it was really good. Like I was seriously at the end, like I was holding back the tears. I'm like, I cannot cry on this airplane. And I wasn't even sitting next to my dad. Like these people, it was kind of funny. They were really nice. I talked to them like the whole time, but we were seated next to each other, and then they're like, oh, they didn't realize we were together, which was weird because we were clearly talking to each other. He's like, do you mind if I sit next to my wife and like you take out my seat that was just across the aisle? My dad's like, sure, no problem. I'm like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter to me where I sit. And then they realized that we were like father and daughter, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's fine. I said, I'm literally 30. And so he's like, oh, I never would have guessed. I'm like, thank you. I know. I seem like a vulnerable teenager who needs to be by her father for a long flight, but I can sustain on my own. But anyway, they're like strangers, and I did not want to cry by them, so I held it in. But it was tough. It was really tough, and I feel like it'll hit hard for you as a mom of boys.
Oh dear.
Because it's just like, there were some moments with the brotherhood that were so beautiful, but then like, and your husband is not that toxic masculine, like, oh, we gotta be in sports and you gotta work out. Like, he's not like that, but there are so many dads that are.
Well, we even like saw it in our high school class sometimes, it'd be like, ugh.
I know, and it's scary.
And you'd even see it from like the moms giving it to these sons, and it's like, I know there's like a lot of like conversation on TikTok and stuff where they're like, are like parenting boys and girls differently and blah, 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 blah. And everyone's always like, more sympathetic to the girls when they're talking about it. And they're like, I had to do this with my brother. But it's like, there is still, it's like everybody wants to be like a man hater all the time.
Yeah,
it's like, but they still have these conflicting emotional situations as well that they have to figure out, and I know we've kind of hated on men a little bit on our podcast too, but it's like, it's just sad when all these stereotypes for men and women are being like pushed on them so hard that you feel like you're not enough if you're not the certain way. Yeah,
and that was very glaringly obvious in this movie, and it was really sad because the family went through so much tragedy, like unimaginable tragedy, and they never really processed it. It was literally just like, get over it. And then it was weird because the dad was so fixated on the wrestling and the son's being the best and all this stuff, and then the mom was very religious, so they had those like two pillars, but it was literally just like, this was God's plan and we're just moving on, and it's like, okay, like the parents like wouldn't show emotion, and like that just messes a kid up so much. Like that is just the generational trauma that I feel like people don't always want to acknowledge with men. It's like if they have, and I don't know, like I think that you probably would see it a lot more with like our grandparents to our parents' generation, because it definitely was like, a man has to be strong. Whereas like now we're like, no, men have feelings too, and like it's okay, like therapy exists. But like when this movie was, that was not a conversation at all, and like you saw how it literally destroyed a family. So yeah, I think it'll hit hard for a mom of boys. Interesting. So if you watch it, prepare yourself. Dun, dun. But yeah, so
you know, I listened to a book too. It was Holly Madison's book.
Oh, you did?
Her second one, The Vegas Diaries. And I mean, I like Holly, not like I have to keep up with everything she does and stuff, and I like her little stories because I think she's kind of like a sweet little person, but it wasn't like, I think you had to like Holly to read the I mean, it wasn't like that. It was just like her time, like right after she left the Playboy Mansion, basically, and like had just gotten out of the relationship with Chris Angel, and is like living. Yeah, I forgot about. And I know she kind of said something funny. She's like, I don't think I really have a type, but then like Chris Angel is the exact same person. But something I thought that was kind of good in her book was because at that point she's like, I think like 30, 32-ish, like in that time frame. And I thought she did like kind of a fun thing. Like, you know, felt like I had all this time and I was still trying to figure it. I don't know. It was just cool to hear even her say like, and she's like, I never thought I was going to have kids. And she's like, at that point, she's like, little did I know that was still going to happen and that I was going to find somebody to have a kid with. And then she's like, talked about how she like bought this house in the Las Vegas area. She's like, I really wanted to have a house. I was so bent on like getting this house. Then she's like, and then I was like alone in the house. And I had this huge house that I thought all these people, like my friends and stuff, were going to live in, but then they would like kind of come and go. And it was just kind of nice to hear her talk about like
how her plans changed.
Like everything would change. And so I thought she did a pretty good job, and it's like, oh, okay. And she still felt like young in that time she was talking about it and stuff.
That's refreshing.
Yeah, it was. I was like, okay, this is fun. And I do like hearing some of her stuff because she was so in that pop culture era like that. And it was good.
Oh my God. When it was in its prime.
Literally. And it was like,
we're never going to get that back.
No, literally never. And she was just talking about like going out. You know, it was just so different.
I
like
know.
Partying with all the people. And like when you would go to Vegas and, you know, if you were a celebrity, you'd be like in the celebrity area and stuff. And that was fun. And I'm trying to think of if she said anything. Oh, she brought up, and which I totally forgot about because I watched her Holly's World, that show. And I forgot that Jade Nicole, Brody Jenner's ex-girlfriend, was on that. And she was kind of like, she didn't really say a lot about her other than they like brought her in because they were going to do that. was it the Bunny House or the House of Bunnies reality show, but it kind of got like canceled. So they brought some of those girls like onto her show. Yeah. And she's like, I guess Jade Nicole is like going to be this villain on my show. And she's like, but she was kind of talking about reality shows and like, she's like, that just didn't make any sense to me. Yeah. That we would like have this bizarre storyline. And then she was talking about how much they would push for her to like, well, you have to have a relationship. And she's like, but I don't want to have this fake relationship on a reality show. And
that's it was just, totally the times too.
I know, where she's like, I can't be this single woman living this single life. I've got to be attached to this man. And then she said she like was kind of seeing Benji Madden.
Oh my gosh.
And she's like, they tried so hard to get him on the show and like went behind her back to get him on the show. And she's like, I was so embarrassed.
Well, and they were like, the Madden brothers were so notoriously like private.
I know. Yeah. And so it was like, he didn't want any part of it. And she's like, it was so weird. And then they like finally got me to like say his name on there, and he was like, why? Like, why
and then they broke up.
Literally. It was like, she's like, but I just thought that was interesting too. I'm like,
speaking of like living in Vegas, I listened to Turtle Time and they interviewed West Wilson. That was the new guy on Summer House, but he was saying that at one point in his life he lived out in Vegas, and they're like, oh my God, like Vegas just, tears you apart. Like I can only do a few days in Vegas. And he's like, yeah, I know, but living there, it's really different. Like I guess you might think that every night's a party and you're going out, but like he said, what are you going to do? Like go on the strip and
with all the tourists.
Yeah. And when you live here and do that every night and like see shows and go to club, like you're not going to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
I know Holly she was like in that Peep Show or whatever. So she was like,
it was different for her. Yeah.
But she would kind of talk about that too. She's like, yeah, you would like go out all the time but then you wouldn't really anymore. You're like kind of over it.
It's a different vibe, I think.
Right. Like, and she's like, then it was like a really hot. So it's like, she's like, I lived in this neighborhood, but nobody's walking around.
Yeah, it's like a dead
she's like,
zone.
I wouldn't see people, even though I was in like this community. And Tana is from Vegas too. And she's like, well, I mean, I think people that are born and raised in Vegas are a different breed.
I completely agree.
Like, yeah, we would kind of like go on the strip when we were younger, but it was cool because we were younger. Yeah. It's like, that's not where,
that's not where
still visits, but
a like normal person would be like, hey, let's go out tonight. When you live there, you're not going on the strip and to the casinos. Like that's just, I don't know. And then now with West and even with like Tana too, like he is in New York, she's like in LA. It's like, yeah, you would go out way more there because like in New York, there's always a different bar. There's always something new opening up. Same in LA, or like there's a house party or there's whatever. It's like, it's so different. So you actually go out way more in a city like that than you would if you are living in Las Vegas.
Right. It's like the novelty.
Yeah, for sure.
Isn't there. I was thinking that too when we were in the Outer Banks. I'm like, I wonder what it'd be like to live in like a tourist town. Like you'd almost, I don't know, like it'd just be weird to have to like share where you live with like all these people. I
know. And to have, like, it would be so annoying, like to have all these people constantly cycling in and out, for the season.
I know, and you could tell, like, where we were and stuff, there was, like, residential spots, but it'd be like, oh, there goes somebody else walking past my house that I've never seen before in my life.
Causing a ruckus on the beach, like...
I know, and even then I was like, can you imagine, like, I always used to think that when I'd watch Laguna Beach, it's like they lived, like, they grew up right on the beach, but then it's like the novelty of it wouldn't be there.
I know, like, you just take it for granted. I mean, we say that about where we live with being so close to the water and, like, lame, but Cedar Point, too. Like, we don't go to those places because we live here.
Right, it's like, I don't know. I just don't love.
Yeah, like it's always there for us, so we're not the novelty's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I want to go try something new. But
okay, guys, it's no secret that Hannah and I have a sweet tooth, but we hate the guilt that we feel after we've binged on some of our favorite cookies, donuts, or other treats. So that's where dough comes in. Dough is an edible cookie dough company that also has donut holes and some delicious chocolate hazelnut spreads that you can eat and not feel so guilty afterwards. These treats are made with extra ingredients that are good for you, gives you extra energy, makes you focus more, and the best part is that they are vegan and gluten-free, which is so amazing and something that you don't find all the time. And sometimes when you get vegan or gluten-free products, they taste vegan and gluten-free. But these dough, cookie doughs, and donut holes do not skimp out on the flavor, and they are so delicious. We have tried the cookie dough raw and baked, and it's good either way. And one of our favorite new donut holes are the collab donut holes with Chamberlain coffee, and it's the cinnamon sugar. And these are just so amazing. You want to eat them with your favorite cup of coffee in the morning. They're just so delicious. And the best part is that they come with some extra vitamins in there to, you know, get your day going and help you focus a little bit more. So if you want to try these vegan, gluten-free, and delicious products, you can go to Eat Dough, and that's spelled DEUX.com to place an order. And if you use the code WaterBottle15, you can get an extra 15% off of whatever you order. That is dough, spelled DEUX, and use WaterBottle15 for 15% off. Just speaking of like Tana Mojo, did you see Brooke's montage of TikTok videos? I watched them all this morning.
I watched some of them, but and then I found a YouTube video that breaks it all down. Yeah. I was like, I might just finish that up.
Well, because you like are a fan, and so I would assume that you kind of already knew the story. Yeah, I'm like, I did not know, and I'm like, oh my God. I know. Well,
I think it's funny when she was like, because then she had that thing with, what's his name? That comedian.
That doesn't help me.
The young guy that's handsome.
Oh.
Why can't I think of his name? It's literally completely out of my head.
But I see his face. Yeah. The one with the jawline.
Yeah.
What is his
name?
That guy. Yeah. Everybody knows what we're talking about.
She's like, what this Clinton Kane did was so much worse, but because he's not as famous as the other one, it's like nobody cares how horrible he was.
That it was like psychotic. I mean, and then I didn't know who he was at all. So I like when I first started watching, I'm like, what does this guy look like? And then I'm like, this can't be right. This doesn't make any sense. But then like episode or TikTok like 9, she's like, yeah. And then I realized I'd been cheated on the whole time. And I guess I just didn't think that was going to be an issue. And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't think that.
Those little rap boys, that thing. I
he was mentally disturbed.
I know.
I mean, that was terrifying. Hearing that whole story, like he lied that his whole family was dead. He faked an accent. I know. Like, and then what?
And then she's like, I don't know if she said this in her whole thing, but when they'd be like fighting and be yelling at her, the accent would be gone.
Yeah, but it's like she didn't notice it. Because then she said, like, this is when it's like the most toxic relationship ever, when you say, yeah, when we fought, I would record it. You're like,
oh yeah, I know.
Did you hear yourself? Did you realize what you were doing at the time? But so then she posted a TikTok where like she posted some of the recording, but it was like the phone was like on the table, so you just saw the ceiling or whatever. And yeah, he's like, first of all, talking absolute nonsense, no accent to be heard.
Sane.
Well, then it was, I mean, she was totally just like manipulated and bamboozled, because she was like, yeah, after I exposed him, I stayed. And I'm like, what?
I know, she's so funny.
What?
It's so like, I don't even know what. She's so beautiful.
I know.
And it's like, you're just want to like, girl.
I know.
And I know she's like younger than we are, and like some of that stuff's from when she was even younger.
Yeah,
like,
but still,
what are you doing?
I mean, that is crazy. But like that relationship was only around COVID.
Yeah.
So that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I cannot think of that guy's name.
Matt Rife.
Nice.
That guy.
Yeah. Who, speaking of him though, like, who has been speaking of him? I feel like he's kind of fallen off.
Oh yeah, because he like was weird in the way that he's like bashed his fans.
I know, and he was starting,
then it was weird.
His jokes were a little like too close to home almost,
And I feel like he doesn't seem to be as much like the friends with like the big like the Seguras and stuff.
Yeah, but I think it was just on Juicy Scoop with like Heather McDonald and Chris Frangiola, because they're both comedians, so they know whatever about stand-up. And I think they were saying one time how it's a lot easier to be funny when you're just doing a lot of crowd work, and you're just basically like feeding off of your fans and the audience and stuff. But then when you actually have to do a whole
like come up with stuff
on
like
your own, but I imagine too, like it is still a roll of the dice relying on crowd work, because
it's like you almost have to just come up with stuff
like on the
right.
fly, and what if you kind of have like a dud crowd?
I know, like, it was like just not it. Like you could go to some random city and it's like
it just
not
isn't
the vibe.
So but I don't know if he's still like touring or what, but I haven't heard anything about him in a while.
No, me either. Kind of like, I know, it's like that's all we heard about.
I know, for a few months he really did fall off, but if we're just talking about like looks level, he would be more of like the level that I would think would be with Brooke Schofield. Right. So this other man was a complete shock.
I know. I had looked him up before and I was like, whatever. But then when I was like actually seeing more of the videos, because I was looking them up earlier, and because she had on her Instagram story, she had a screenshot of a TikTok you made where it said like, when it's been
2 years
and your girlfriend's still, or your ex is still yapping, and I was like, wait.
And then that must have been what triggered her to start all the TikTok videos, because she was like, it has been 2 years and I'm gonna yap some more. And then at the end she
said yapping.
And then at the end she's kind of like, now you can see why I'm talking about it, because it is so crazy. It literally, I mean, that is wild.
And then you just had to be like, was that even real? Like, did that really happen? I was with this like...
Well, if that were me, I mean, I would be seriously questioning my
sanity.
Yes. And also like my taste level, like everything. And any future partner I had, I'd be like, I don't know. Can I trust that this is real? And then the poor thing, she's like, I also want to preface that I am also medicated now.
I know, because she told a story, I think, was it that she did this to Clinton Kane? I can't remember. But anyway, she like told the story that she like took this girl's picture that she used to, I think it was high school or college, I can't remember, go to high school with, like basically catfish this guy, goes on and on and on, and she's like, can you send me a picture? Oh, then she gets the girl finally, and she goes, it's been like a long time of her like messaging this guy. Then she gets a hold of this girl and it's like, will you help me get this guy? And she was like, yeah, I'll do it. And they like had him send a picture of his private. I can't remember what they said they did, but it was like insane, and he did it. And she's like, I just have the satisfaction of knowing that. It's like, I didn't send it out, but I have the satisfaction of knowing it. And I'm like, that is freaking like,
she didn't mention that.
Okay, maybe it wasn't him that she did it with,
or maybe she just didn't bring it up.
Because that was a tour story. But I'm like, that is like,
that's the kind of stuff that, like, I think that I've gotten to, I don't know what it is about men. It like makes you go
I know.
wild.
And she talks about that a lot too. She's like, if I'm not dating someone, I can't even think about anything else. Like I have to think about what they're doing all the time. And she's like, and then if we're like not together, I still am thinking about what they're doing unless I have somebody else to think about.
And I don't know if that's like a sign of insecurity or what, but it's like and I feel like they know that they consume, and then they act like they do things that then they're like, you're crazy.
Right.
You made me this way. Like, and you're purposefully doing things, but I've never gone to like such a level.
I know. Like that. To like keep it going. And I
feel like the two of them have such insane stories and situations that they've been in that it's like, I never could. And I would be so embarrassed to share.
I know, like, I'd have to really think about if I've done something really extreme. But I feel like I kind of would be more like quiet about it. Like I wouldn't like go to such extremes to like get back at somebody.
Yeah,
or, like,
no.
I would think about people, you know.
But I definitely don't have that because I don't know, maybe it's like with maturity now, but I'm just kind of like, if a relationship ends and if somebody is making it very clear that they don't want to be with me, like, I'm not, what is the point of me doing anything or fighting for, like, that is a waste of time. So I don't like revenge.
No, me either. And it's like, I feel like the way we kind of, like, we didn't have like that social media revenge aspect that maybe like people a little bit younger than us would have had.
Yeah.
So I don't know what, like, maybe we would have done some crazy stuff.
I know, maybe we would have. I mean, I think we've always, like, I definitely have like posted things in the hope that one person likes it or sees it, and it's like a little dig at like, look what I'm doing. Like, I've definitely done that, or I've definitely cyber stalked like guys, and then the new girlfriend, you know, like I've definitely done that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I would never like reach out to somebody or like, you know, like I could, oh my God.
I would like, I just couldn't do it.
Me
if
either.
I accidentally liked something,
I would
I'd kill
like,
myself.
Yeah.
Or I'd have to like block the person, block me.
I'd have to throw my phone out the window,
delete my account for 5 minutes. Yeah. It's like, no way.
That's the worst.
Literally so bad. There's just something I was thinking of
about related to Brooke and Tana?
Or? Oh, no. I just wanted to say this random thing I was thinking about real fast with social media. It's so weird. Like, we're off social media technically, but we're like, we obviously have like the podcast stuff. And it's almost like one of those things I was thinking about. It's like, you want to be like off the grid, you know, you don't want people to know your business, but you almost can't like fight it.
I know.
It's like you literally cannot, like, whether you have an app, because I just did like a Goodreads account.
Oh yeah.
To like rate, but I don't know, just to like communicate with people. It's like they're about books. See if I could get some communication. But I'm like, it's like you can't fight it.
I know.
It was like at first, because I was like, I think it just uses like your first and last name. You probably could have like did a username, but it said like first last name. And I'm like, and then I'm like, why fight it?
Yeah, what's
like
why?
Literally, like everybody, like you literally cannot escape some kind of like media trail.
Well, and I feel like with us too, like, okay, if we didn't have the podcast, we wouldn't have these social media accounts. But like, what would we have in our life then?
Right.
Like, I just think about, like,
I know,
what if we
like,
didn't do this? We'd probably barely see each other.
I know, right? We'd have to find, like, something different. I don't even know. Or, I know, and it's kind of like, it's just, like, a weird...
But I do like how we have our social media where it isn't us. Because, and we don't, I mean, there will be the off time where I will, like, look up a real person. But it's, like...
I honestly try not to do that.
I know.
It's pretty rare. But
it'll be like, I mean, really the one that I look up is my one cousin. just to see what she's doing.
I know. There's nosiness.
But for, you know, everybody else that's on there, it's like basically just celebrities and like public accounts. And I just feel like it's news for us. And especially now that we're like doing a podcast where we report on like topical things and pop culture things, it's like, well, we have to have that.
Some kind of something.
Because like that is where like things are posted, like people are announcing things, you know, on these apps. And if we didn't have them, like we would be out of the loop, you know?
I know. And it is like it's like, it's not like it's important information, but like, what would I know or have to talk about if I wasn't consuming media in some way? Like I probably still listen to podcasts, obviously, but it's like, if you can't, I don't know, like that's what brings up conversation. Then if you like see something, you're like, what do you think of that? What if that was you? You know, it's like, it's just so
I mean, there's so many things where we're like, oh, I forgot about this. And what are they doing now? Like
or even when we see like these old, like I don't go on it much because it's just nothingness. But when you go on the explore page on Instagram, it'll be like these old pictures from like 2000.
Yes, which is so weird that will pop up. Like, and then you'll click on one and you'll be like, wait, what year was this? It's like 2016. I'm like, wait, why did it pull this random?
I know. And then you're like, oh yeah. I don't know. It's just
remember back in the day when Instagram was different and it would show you like the feed of what people that you're following are doing, and it would be like, Hannah liked this photo. Hannah started following this person. And it was such like that was like scandalous sometimes.
I know, you'd be like freaking nosing up. Does it not do that anymore?
I don't think so. I mean, not that I see like, on there.
Oh, who'd they like? And then you could find people. Yes. And remember how you would like know people but not really know them, and you'd know all about these people that like a bunch of the people that you know them, but you don't actually know them. And then I remember there was a couple times where I'd like see these people in public, but I didn't actually know them,
so
and I'm
you
like,
couldn't. But you're like,
but I know
Sarah.
It's like I know everything about your life that you post. And then sometimes I'd be like, oh, they look different than their picture. You know, it'd be like this whole, I know, it was just like insane. But now I feel like even if we still had social media, it just wouldn't be.
And I mean,
as far as personal people anymore.
Well, because even like there are a couple people on that we follow that like we know if it's like a family member or whatever. But like, they don't seem to post too much that I have noticed. And they might post a story, but like if it's your family, like I don't watch them, and I typically don't even watch like my couple family members that are on there. But it's just like most people like not posting a lot. Like,
or if it's like the older people. But it is kind of like, it's so oversaturated with ads and like influencers that it's almost probably discouraging. I mean, it is for us. You know, if nobody's liking anything, they're not even seeing your post.
I know, because your main feed is so different with the algorithm. I mean, this is a topic that I'm sure people have talked to death, but it's just like, it used to literally just go through the posts that were new from your followers
in chronological order.
And then it would be like, you're all caught up. And it was great. And now it's like, you've got things from suggested for you. No, I'm not interested in these people.
I know, and I'm like, do we follow them? Which is like fine. And then I'm like, no, we don't. But not, you know.
I know. I will say a really exciting development. You know, I'm not really active too much on our Twitter account, but like I still will go on there, especially since they have a lot of like Bravo updates on there. I guess that's just like where the algorithm has brought us, but I do like that. We are getting a lot of followers.
Are they real people?
No, they appear to be, to put it delicately, honey traps. Women of the night, maybe. But
which are probably really men.
I mean, they're definitely not real people. And because sometimes I'll click on their account, like, what have you posted? And there's nothing.
I know, that's literally so annoying. And it's like, I don't want on these like people in bras and underwear like following me. It's like, that doesn't look.
Why is that happening? It's like on Instagram we get all of India following us randomly, and then on Twitter it's like porn stars. Literally, like, what is going on?
Remember when we kept getting on those people, and then we looked at where people are listening? Yeah. There was somebody from that. We're like,
I can't remember the guy's name.
I know, we like, here he is.
Yeah, right?
He's listening. That was weird, though, that there was like somebody
was listening. Well, I mean, if they would tell their friends and actually listen more, that would be great.
Oh
one thing I did see on Twitter today, or on Instagram today, was like this Harry Jowsey, like Nick Viall beef. Did you see about that?
No, but that just reminded me of something.
Okay.
But we'll finish this. It's about Nick Viall.
Okay. Sidebar, I unfollowed him. I couldn't. I'm like, I don't want to see his stuff anymore.
I know every once in a while I'd look, and then
I just was like, I'm done. I can't do it. Anyway, so I guess what is it? It's perfect. What?
They were friends, though, right? From social
Well, they're definitely
media.
not friends anymore.
Yeah, but they were kind of, right?
I think so. Yeah, like within the. I think he was on the podcast at one point.
Something.
So Harry Jowsey is on that Perfect Match show, and I don't know if that's still on. Like, I don't know that I did not watch it at all.
That Micah from Love Is Blind is on there.
Yeah, so I didn't watch any of that, but anyway. And I think that must be what Nick is commentating on, because I think Harry Jowsey also started a podcast. But anyway, Nick was basically just talking crap about Harry Jowsey. And I guess he just couldn't keep his name out of his mouth, apparently, on his pod. And so then
He's such an instigator.
No, he seriously is. And this is why it's like I stopped listening to his podcast, because it's just like he is so judgmental of everybody, and he thinks he is this sounding board for all things pop culture and reality.
He'd like get on a thing where it would like he'd get the sly eye, and you could tell he was just trying to ruffle feathers, like he's being ornery.
And he's not a good interviewer,
right?
Like it just anyway, not to go down that road, but so then it was like a comment, and I don't know if it was under like one of the podcast videos or what, but somebody had said something about like, oh wow, like he's really going in on Harry Jowsey, and then Harry responded to that, and he was like, yeah, like he just can't stop, and he really, instead of worrying about a 20-something, when he's like 50, he should be worried about his wife who cheats on him.
Okay. Here we go. I'm listening. There's this podcast I listen to called X Knows All, and I really like her, but she doesn't post a lot. Like she works like we do.
Okay. Yeah, it's rough out here.
I know it is. It's rough out here. So she'll like kind of go in spurts, and then she'll talk about it. She'll be like, blah blah blah. So I don't get like a ton of stuff from her.
Yeah.
She has this podcast. I'm like checking because I have to just check.
Yeah.
To see if she posts. She posted one. It was like because she'll do like a true crime here every now and then. And it was an update on that, and it said Natalie and Nick cheating scandal, and I said, and I'm like, oh, of course he's cheating on her.
Yeah.
Oh, was that rough? And this is so gossipy.
Yeah, I know, but I don't care.
But I'm gonna go in on it. Apparently this is all over Reddit.
I heard that too. That it's been all over Reddit.
Apparently, there's this. I think they said he was a foot doctor.
Interesting.
But like a social media foot doctor. Apparently, she was having an affair with this guy, and I believe he was also married. And I wonder if that's why she got pregnant, was because they were going to break up.
Probably.
In my opinion. But
yeah,
anyway.
because it was around when they were engaged. Yeah.
And apparently Natalie had this really good friend that she's had for a long time. Mm-hmm. They stopped talking.
Yep. Then they unfollowed each other.
And the mom, I guess, was like really religious. So that would make sense that like, you know, she wouldn't want all that. And then they were like, the sex knows all. Christy was like, and remember when Nick Viall out of nowhere has all these tattoos, and apparently that's what this foot doctor is all tatted up.
Oh my god!
And I'm trying to think of what else they said about it, but anyway. That's
well, the one thing I had heard too was how at one point in the timeline of the podcast, he was like very anti, like cheating is a no-go. That is and then done all of a sudden
they were talking about that too, and then they said, and apparently this could, which I hadn't heard anything about the cheating scandal, which I'm disappointed about.
But interesting how it's buried.
I know, and I guess recently he's been like, you know, we don't owe anybody anything about our relationship, blah, 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 blah. And it kind of like sounded like it came out of nowhere, but not if you knew that she's out here cheating away.
Yep.
Well, you know what? I mean, I hate to be like, with not that he's not a good looking guy and has a lot going for him, but it's like, you want this young little thing. Yep. What do you expect?
I know.
When your frontal lobe
isn't fully developed, and she slid into your DMs.
Yeah, an older guy. She's got like a thing.
Yeah.
And I just thought, and I was like, and I feel like the pregnancy thing was like
interesting timing,
a saving thing. And then all of a sudden he's tattooed up.
Yep, and he's feeling more sympathetic to cheating situations.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
It was just, I can't remember what else they said, but I was like, I was shocked that it was her. And then apparently that Victoria Fuller was also like friends with them. And then they stopped talking too, but then they started talking again. So I wonder if like...
It's interesting.
It sure
It's just, I mean, the pot calling the kettle black. I'm sorry.
That hot young thing.
I don't want to, I don't want to be hateful, but it feels good in this situation. I'm sorry because
you mean it was too good to be true?
And not that I think anybody deserves the demise of a relationship, but it's just like he is always acting so holier than thou, and that they've just worked so much on their relationship and everything's perfect and he knows everything and blah blah blah.
And then and they were talking about on the podcast too, they're like, if they would have broken up because of a cheating scandal, like that would look so bad on him. Like he literally, you know, it was like
he's
already
out here trying to be a therapist.
Right. That's what they were saying. They're like, you can't, you know, have your entire brand is based off of like relationships, and you've already had some publicly failed ones.
Yes.
And you literally cannot have this one fail.
Right. Like for his business, like they couldn't do it.
Did Harry Jowsey or any other comments say anything?
Well, what I saw, it was literally just like the screenshot, and then I looked at the comments off of that, and people are like, yeah, I've heard this on Reddit. Like he's getting what's coming to him. Like they were very like anti-Nick. Yeah. But I'm sorry, he has dug that hole for himself.
I know. It's like if you're going to create this brand, which is like, that's what sucks about.
Yeah, I know. But
creating a brand.
He's intermingled his whole podcast with his now wife way too much.
I know.
You just gave her this job as the co-host on
I know. And how interesting that he kept saying like, Ariana and Tom, you know, it was like a business relationship, and they were, you know, it makes sense. It's almost like, oh, so you're like,
so you have the same thing. Yeah. I know. It does. It puts things into different
I'm really like, and you know, it's just like Reddit rumors, but when is Reddit wrong?
Well, and I had like kind of heard about that like a few months ago, but it was like, well, I don't know. I know. And it kind of went out of my mind.
Right.
But now with Harry Jowsey,
like, it's like
calling
circulating.
Him out, yeah.
It's and not just on Reddit.
I just assume that somebody like him knows more.
Right. Like you're friends with these people, and if like, and there's more, I can't really remember all the interconnecting with like this foot doctor guy, but it was like in the group, so it's like it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, there's, and, you know, like, I know people are like, you know, you can send in anything to blind items and stuff, but some do come out to be true. And I remember I went down this, like, this was like a while ago, but this Jessie James Decker had like this big Reddit thing, and she was like feuding with her brother and his wife or something.
That was full on real.
Yeah, and then it was like, I read all that, and then you're like, oh, like this, and then it was like saying all this stuff about her and like the way she is with her husband, and it's like, okay, and then it literally had legs to stand on, and you're like,
I followed that whole thing as it happened when that was when I was still on social media and on Instagram, because like I used to really like Jessie James Decker.
So did I. She was so likable, and cute,
and so I would like follow her, and like I don't know if I followed her siblings, but I like knew of her siblings and would always look at their pages and stuff. Yeah, and then you just started like seeing some like weird posts or whatever, or noticing that like the brother isn't around, and then the girlfriend isn't, and then there were some cryptic things that they had posted, and then it was like a couple years that they literally were not involved at all. Yeah, and it was sad because like that's when her brother like started having kids and everything, and it was like, damn, like you guys are a fractured family, and then now I've looked up and everything's fine.
I know, and it's just like crazy that that's like circulating around, and we like got the full scoop, and it really did, not that I was like on the brother's side, but just the stuff they were saying about their relationship with her husband, I was like, this is kind of like weird. Well, and then she always portrayed like this, oh, we're this perfect couple, and it's like the more you portray that,
well, yeah, that's what I was about to say too. I just think that they're like that entire family, they are really just like too squeaky clean, too good to be true. Right. It's like they really portray
perfect marriage, perfect kids, perfect this, perfect
all
that.
Of them do, I think. And it's like, okay, well,
then you find out. Every time it's the more you have to post about it.
A little bit. Yeah. Interesting. The other thing that happened that we kind of talked about, but just the Justin Timberlake DUI thing. And I wanted to bring that up again because I saw that Jessica Biel was just at one of his concerts. And it's just like, I mentioned it to my coworkers the other day, and I said what we had said, where like he just continues to embarrass her time and time again. And it just like didn't land with them. And I'm just like, why is this something that we're not discussing?
I know, like, why is he acting like a literal frat boy?
Yeah, and like...
For how long now? And she just, like, goes out there and puts on a happy face, does damage control.
I know, and she's not going to leave, like, the poor thing, you know, and it's just like, sad.
I know, and it's like, I don't know if he's doing anything. I mean, obviously he was, like, touching on a coworker inappropriately, but it's like, I don't even know if he's doing anything worth leaving, but it's still not fair to her that she has to like
deal with it.
I know, it's like, dude, she's literally like filming a movie, and you're out here getting a deal.
Well, and everything that's been around that too, where it's like I've seen rumors that there were other things in his system, which I don't necessarily believe. But then the mugshot, I mean, he looks horrible,
bugged out. Even when like clips from his concert, I'm like,
they're like, he's coked out. Like so many people have been saying that he's like bloodshot eyes. Like he looks awful, and I don't know if it's just like the pressure is getting to him,
or from being so famous for a long time, and then like kind of losing the steam. And then the Britney Spears book of it all.
Yeah, that knocked him down. But like also the pressure of like, you know, we saw just recently with J-Lo where she couldn't sell tickets for her tour, and so she canceled it. And it's like, you know, she's a big name. He's a high caliber performer. Is he worried that like he's gonna end up like that, where people aren't gonna be coming to his shows, and then it's gonna be embarrassing for him, for his career? Like, I don't know. And then the fact that like the person that pulled him over didn't know who he was, and then he's like, this is gonna ruin the tour. Like but like then poor Jessica,
buddy.
I know, poor Jessica has to come out here
on like
her break from filming, support you and show that this is no big deal.
2 sons.
I'm sorry, but like, how much of an idiot do you have to be? Why did you drive.
I know, and like
you can get a driver.
I know, and that's a huge deal to drive drunk. Like, you could have hurt somebody or intoxicated.
I mean,
it's like,
what an idiot.
Somebody.
And then he's going to have to go to court. Like, he has like a July court date for it because it was like 3 charges. He spent the night in jail.
Right. And it's like, does he think he's above this?
Obviously. And then he's like, I only had 1 martini. Dude, no, you didn't.
Yeah. And Coke.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Come on.
And like, just I only had 1 martini is just so cringy.
If that's all it takes, you were swerving and
it's just like not even a beer.
I know, a martini.
I know, we're going into the toxic masculinity. Never mind, I won't say that word.
But it's just, it seriously is just like, how much more can Jessica Biel take? Like why does she have to put up with this?
I know, it's literally so embarrassing. And I just like, here we go again. Like, I just like, and maybe she just, I don't know. I mean, what a good woman. What a good woman.
I know. I mean, and the sad thing is that I feel like she really does care for him a lot.
I know. And like, then they have like the kids and stuff.
I'm not saying he's like a horrible person. And we obviously don't know their marriage. But it's just like, if these are the things that we're seeing publicly.
I know. Imagine when he's doing like, I don't know, behind closed doors.
Yeah, like it makes me sad for her.
I know. It's like, girl, you don't deserve that.
No.
Hot.
I know. Like, she looks great. I don't like that she chopped her hair off. I didn't think that was the move for her, but she seems to like it. Right. So,
and then they've got 2 sons. Yeah. And it's like, not setting a very good example. No. And then it's like, what are they going to see when you're like, again, this is all just, we don't know what's really going on. But it's like, what are they going to think when you're like putting their mom through that?
I know, seriously.
Like,
yeah.
Grow up,
just
dude.
Even like the 2 public instances where she's been embarrassed. Like, that's enough.
It's like, and it's like alcohol related.
Yeah, they both
and it's
are.
Like, then maybe we need to
reevaluate your relationship with alcohol, Justin. Yeah. You know? And then Brittany, I wouldn't say Brittany's thriving, but Brittany's over here living her life. And she's not getting in trouble anymore. Right. You know what I mean? It's like she's off her rocker, but she's not getting in trouble with the law. There's no big scandal with her.
No.
So the other thing, I know you're probably going to disagree with this, but Travis coming on stage at Taylor's concert, I thought was a little bit cringy.
You know, well, this is the way I kind of looked at it. I'm like, why not? If that whole, you know, these thousands of girls are just fans are just gonna freaking love it. I know. It's like, you know, you're gonna go out there and none of them are gonna make fun of you.
Yeah,
so it's like,
I know.
Might as well.
It's just, and I think we've like said this before. Like, I feel like they both kind of like lean into a little cringe. Like, they're just that like millennial cringiness. But it's just like, he's just so performative, and it's just like to see him on the grand stage. I'm like, I know she asked you to come out here, and I know it was cute, but it's just like, can you just let her have it as her thing, and your thing is the football? Like, Taylor's not gonna come out on the field and coach with you, like.
Yet. The season hasn't started.
I don't know. I do agree with the Heather McDonald timeline that he needs to put a ring on it. Like, I really do think that. Like, you know, he needs to lock it in.
I did hear him say it, which I kind of loved, when he was talking about her in some interview, and he said that they were the same age. And I was like, it's just kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
Like, we're the same age.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just refreshing.
I know. And I know it's like, it doesn't matter as long as they're happy. Mm-hmm. And they looked like they were having the time of their lives up there. But I was just like, and he's in a top hat and coattails.
He was in the costume.
I know. But it's just like, out of everything that he could have wore coming out, it's something that he's never been seen in once in his entire life. And it just looked so goofy because we're not used to that. But yeah, I mean, I think they're just loving life. Like, he is literally living his best life at coming to her shows. Like, I
think it's so funny that like most of the words he doesn't really know, but he's still
vibing. Like, he knows Karma's the guy on the Chiefs.
Like, it's just so funny to me. He's just like, yeah.
I know. It is cute. That type of support is cute. I think I don't remember when I sent you this, but when there was like Prince William and like who was the other person that I said that was
Tom
there?
Cruise.
Oh yeah, Tom Cruise, and then like Paul McCartney was just there.
Yeah.
I'm like, these are grown men, and they are having like it's serious. What planet are we on? Like, I never in a million years would have expected that Taylor Swift or any pop star would be bringing people together in this sort of way. Like, grown men are having the time of their lives.
But I will say though, like, someone experienced it.
Yeah.
It really is just like this, the energy and the actual show is just so fun.
Yeah. I mean,
and like
the
backup dancers are just having a blast too. And I just feel like it's like this moment where you can just kind of act like a goober. And
I mean, it definitely seems like Bradley Cooper. Yeah, like, I mean, it's just these people that you never would expect to be there and loving it are there, and they are loving it. And yeah, like me as not even like a full Taylor Swift fan, like I think if I was there, like I would be loving my life too.
Fun. Yeah, it's like it's just a fun show.
Yeah.
And just to have like, and everybody's there having a good time. Like, I almost feel like it'd be like at a festival or something.
What is going to happen when it's over, though?
I know. I was just looking at the rest of the dates, and I think the last one was December 8th.
Like, 2025 is going to be...
literally 2 years.
I know.
Every weekend.
I know that she probably won't, but like she deserves a break and should just take one.
No,
like,
we're definitely gonna have another album.
I know she won't actually do it, but it's just like, and even like I said to you too, like I know that she loves her job and goes out there, and it seems like she is loving every moment of being at all these cities, but I would just feel like it would be so exhausting.
Unless, because I was thinking too, I'm like, I wonder if this will be the last time she tours
a big tour like that. Yeah,
like maybe she'll do shows and stuff, but I was like, and maybe that's why she's kind of like pushing through
doing all of it. Yeah, like leave it all out
got
there
everywhere.
Yeah,
I did my errands
right
now we're done.
Because I mean, when you think about it, like what would she do next? Like, how is she gonna top that?
I know
tour?
You can't do, well, maybe she would Eras 2 maybe she could be like 20 years
the revival tour. It is, yeah, it's just crazy. Like, I can't even comprehend it, honestly. Like, and also, I mean, not to get to like a emotional level about it, but it's like for her, like when that is over, I mean, that's going to be a huge lifestyle change.
I know.
And almost like just such an ending to.
I know. Or like, I just think like, that when do you actually get to have all your fans in one room together, like for anybody, and it almost be like, you know, when you have like a wedding and your whole family's there, and then the wedding's over and you're like, oh,
you come down off the high,
and you're like, everybody's gone, like what can I do to get people here again? I feel like it might feel like that. It's like all your people are just, it's over. Like you can't get them back in a room.
Like, oh my God, you're gonna feed off it. Like like I mean,
be a good time for her to get married and have kids.
But that's what I think too. Like maybe, and obviously, you know, people say she's very calculated, but I don't think she could have predicted this romance with Travis and like. But it is the perfect time because this ends in December. Take some time, don't tour. Like you can still make music, but like plan a wedding, pop out a couple kids. Like you gave the universe exactly what it wanted from you. Like take a little breather with all the big stuff.
Maybe she will.
Yeah, we'll see. But I think by the end of summer, he'll have proposed.
I know. Or after I'm thinking maybe it could be after this next football season. And then they'll have like a quicker engagement and then get married before the next season. And then, but what I am kind of like, I feel like if she would have married Joe Alwyn, we would have never seen a single photo.
We wouldn't have even known.
But with him, I'm like, we're going to get the pictures.
And you're going to also hear about it on his podcast. Yeah, like she'll probably be a guest on the pod.
We're going to have pictures of the dress and the wedding. There's going to be so many famous people there. When athletes and movie stars and singers come together.
That's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Two worlds colliding.
I know. I just had one last piece of media that I consumed, and it was Media Pressure. It was a podcast by Julie Murray, who's Maura Murray's. Wait, I think I said that right. Mara, like Laura. Murray's sister who went missing in the New England area. And she did a podcast basically like the whole timeline of her sister's thing. And she was kind of like, and she's working with Sarah Turney, Alyssa Turney's sister. Like it's under her thing.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I don't know if because I think this just came out in March or April. And I don't know because now Sarah Turney, I don't know if you keep up with her, but now she did her sister's story and now she does other people's stories.
Okay.
So I don't know if Julie is going to do this or this was just kind of like her thing. Yeah. And then maybe if there's like updates, she'll do like another episode or something. But I mean, her sister, I also have like a dull voice, but she kind of did. But other than that, I thought she did like a good job with it. But something I thought that I liked that she talked about quite a bit was the fact that people, it's like, and we've talked about this before too, where people just sensationalize and come up with all this stuff for these true crime content and stuff. And she's like, it's like these are real people, like loved ones that are missing and who have been hurt or, we don't know. And just like coming up and like painting pictures of these people that aren't true.
Yeah.
And it is kind of like a weird, and I know we've talked about this before, but it is like a weird thing. It's like people make money by creating true crime content, which is kind of like this weird, like, is it ethical? Isn't it? But then it also gets the word out more.
Right. I know.
And stuff. And then she's like, it's kind of interesting to actually be able to have the family maybe make like money or like put the story out there. But then I was thinking too, it's like when you're talking about your family member, you're going to paint them in the best light.
Yeah, you're going to be biased.
Right. So it's kind of like there was a couple things that she kind of like she touched on that happened, but also by not really going, well, it's kind of like one of those things like, if somebody has like sometimes there's cases where it's like somebody has a mental illness.
Yeah, or then, like addiction or something.
And then something happens to them and people really play that up like, well, obviously they were with bad people and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, you can still have like a bad past and then someone still hurts you. Yeah. But I also think kind of like the flip too, because she kind of like kept bringing up like Mara is like this, type A, got good grades and, was in control and communicated with her family. Like she wouldn't do this, and that. And it's like, well, just because you're like a good student doesn't mean you can't be, mixed up with like a wrong person one time. And like, I think not saying that's what happened with her sister, but it's like,
but like
ruling
it
out.
Human. Yeah.
And it's like, she was young. It's like, of course she's going to make mistakes. And she did, get in trouble with shoplifting and like quitting West Point. It's like there are those things too. That doesn't mean she's a bad person. But I do think like that can't be left out.
Right. And like as a family member, I think it's hard to admit that stuff.
Right. And then you don't want to say those things because you don't want people to look bad at you. Like, you know, it's like if you went missing or something, I wouldn't be like, here's all the bad stuff she did in the past. Like, I'm going to try to paint you in the best light to get people to care.
Yeah. I thought that about, and I can't, what was the kid's name that went missing from like, were they in Nashville?
Oh, that Riley.
Yeah, Riley Strain. And that had just come back like while I was in Ireland about like the toxicology report, all this stuff. And it was basically like he had alcohol poisoning and drowned.
Right.
And it's like, I believe that. Like, I think that weird things do happen. I mean, when we had like a true crime, like in our, like close to our life, where it's like, it is hard to believe that it genuinely was A to B, but like sometimes it really is. But as a family member, like you don't want to ever believe that, or like you know, you're, even if the, like something seems a little weird about like this situation, or like, oh, but he wouldn't have done that. Like you hold on to that, and then like blow that out instead of just taking kind of like the facts of a situation. And I mean, I'm not saying that like nothing was weird in that Riley Strain case, but it's just like as a parent or a family member, it is just so hard to come to terms with that, like this loved one, like maybe did make a mistake at some point and that led to this horrific situation, you know, like, and I think if you're, like you just said, if you're then explaining that in like a documentary or a podcast, like it's not like you're not a reliable narrator sometimes. The podcast that I listen to, that Anatomy of Murder, like I think they do a really good job with like trying to get the family involved, but also just like painting the facts, because they were both like prosecutors and investigators at one point. So they're pretty good about like giving both sides of things, but they also don't want to like really play up the person that, or like the assailant, or even, I guess.
Like, either way, it's like that they were play up that they were like this, you know, bad person or this good person.
Like they really, and they try to be more sympathetic with the victim, because it is more of like, we're here to like bring awareness and like all this stuff. But you bring up a good point with like the families and stuff, because they will interview family member, I guess, if they choose to be on it. But I do wonder, like, do they give them like a cut of things, or anytime if it's like not like a solved thing, they'll be like, reach out to blah, blah, blah. So I just wonder, like, how does that work?
I know. Yeah. Like I know it's such like a weird, like, you know, for a while there would be like somebody putting makeup on and talking about a true crime. It's like, is that an ethical way to talk about it? Like, it's just such a like, it's like, such a weird situation where it's almost like not fair, but then it like all gets to the
because I mean it's public record, right?
So and it's like, why sometimes it is easier to like, oh, I'm gonna watch this YouTube video instead of having to look it all up myself. And it's like, and I'm, you know, technically not paying the YouTuber if I listen to them or something.
But they're obviously making money from the view. Yeah.
I know. It's like, it's such a weird thing. Like, it's just...
I know. Sometimes when I think too much about it, I really get weirded out by how much I like true crime.
I know. Like, I've been kind of just, since I got back from vacation for literally no reason, been kind of enthralled with true crime again, because I do try to take breaks from it. But I think I just wanted to, like, listen to something else.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel fair. And I think, like we said, like, some people do a really good job and, like, try to be very compassionate and stuff, but yet you still are making money or like
somebody else.
And it's like, even if, because I know Kendall Ray, I've been watching her for a long time, but she'll like donate, you know, a certain percentage off of like the episode to like the family or their organization they have or something. And it's like, that's nice, but she still has to pay herself and her employees to make a living and everything. And it's like, that's probably more than most are doing, but it is, I don't know. It's like, what is enough though?
I know. And I think it does, like, because we had talked about dabbling in true crime stuff too, but I think it, like the way that I think it's done well is when somebody actually makes a well-rounded effort with research and like reaching out to the family and all that stuff, because then it feels more like, yeah, I didn't just look this up online and then spew it out myself.
Regurgitate it.
You know, like you actually like were intentional about what you're saying and tried to like bring in the family and
it's hard too when you're like, because sometimes you'll listen to a true crime thing and they'll just like spit all the information at you and don't give an opinion.
Yeah.
Or like any commentary. And you're like, well, I want like, what do you think? But then if they do that, then it gets like that speculation. And if you have a big following, then you're like, you know, even in that, like, the Idaho murders thing, it was like everybody went on social media, went in on that one roommate. And it's like, whether she was, you know, whatever. It's like, you know, that's not fair either.
You have to
and
be careful.
Yeah, it's like if you're a big creator, you're like, and I think it was Maura Murray's sister said something about that too, where she's like, this is what I know why, because it was her sister had a friend that, which she talked to on the podcast, that didn't go help look at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And all the hate this girl got from it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I was young then, and I was never asked to come help. And, you know, I had a life too. And the way she got like ripped apart. And
but that's what I think with so many things when young people are involved. It's like with the Idaho thing, like these were college kids.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, like you don't know how you're ever going to react if something horrific like that happens to around you or to somebody that you care about. And it's just, or even just somebody that you know, not even that you care about. So it's like, when you're in your 20s, you are still so self-centered. And just biologically, like that is the way your brain is. And I think it's really unfair to be like, well, they didn't care. It's not that. It's just people express it differently.
I know. And it's so easy to like look at a situation from the outside, knowing everything. Yeah. Being like, well, this is what she should have did, or this is what he should have did. It's like, well, I can see that now.
Right. But it's also like, okay, so just say like if something happened to you, like my reaction might not be as extreme as your husband's. Right. But that doesn't mean that like I don't still care about what's happening. But it's like as a direct family member or spouse, like you're going to feel everything at like level 5,000 or you should feel it, but like
theoretically,
yes. But then like sometimes I think those closest people then judge other people, and it's like that doesn't mean I didn't care. It's just like that wasn't my son or my daughter, you know, like
or even not to keep bringing this part up, but she was also talking about there was this other friend who wouldn't speak publicly at all, and then people, you know, are like, did she know something? Did she know where Maura was headed and stuff? And it's like, this is probably why she's not speaking out, because it's like you're coming at her and she shouldn't have her whole, especially if she's really not involved in anything, shouldn't have her life ruined over
and she doesn't. She's not compelled or like obligated to talk to media, you know?
Or even those people where it's like, oh, there's a supposed sighting and it's somebody else. Yeah. Like that one, I can't remember her name. The last name is Compton. And it was that really creepy video on the internet where it was like she had the black eyes and she was in that car. Oh. And they thought it was this other missing girl that she did look like. But they like went in on this girl. This girl has to like make... Yeah. And clearly that girl looked like something had happened to her. But it's like... it was so big that this girl had to like comment on this
when she probably didn't want to.
No, it's like she didn't want to be found.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just like the way media, or even remember the girl. And I'm telling you right now on the plane, it's like this girl.
And she like fell off the face of the earth for a minute because it's like
she was so much media. She was embarrassed.
Yeah, and she was like pulled apart. Like
I know, and it's like
and that was so embarrassing.
Yeah, and it's like I can't even like in the fact like we've talked about before. It's so Black Mirror. Like you could literally just be like walking your dog and go viral if somebody takes a photo or a video of it for whatever reason.
I know, it's so insane.
It is, but anyway, it was a decent podcast. But I don't know, it's just one of those things.
Yeah. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was that I started watching New Jersey today, and I don't know, I was really on the fence on if I wanted to watch this or not, but then I kept hearing a bunch of stuff about it and I'm like, I'm just gonna binge this. But I watched 4 episodes, and I don't know. Like, I think more stuff is coming, and I think they're on like episode 9. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many there's going to be in this season, but the episode that just aired, you might have seen it. There was like that physical fight with the glass being shattered. Like, I don't know how it leads up to that, but I'm just so conflicted with New Jersey because like New Jersey was one of the like OGs that I really enjoyed watching, and just everybody, you felt just really connected to them, and it was so family centric. And at first, like everybody was family in some way. But even now, like watching this season, you know, all of Teresa's girls are like older and they're going off to college, and it's like, wow, like we've been watching this, and even Melissa's kids are going to college too. It's like, we've been watching this for so long. We've seen this progression, but at this point, with like such the big rift between Teresa and her brother, it's like, I don't know. And like, it literally has gotten into like everything with everybody else that's on the show. And it's kind of like they cannot help but keep like bringing up Teresa and stuff with Teresa. And it's almost just like frustrating to watch. Like it feels like there's no other storyline but it's not even fully being talked about because they're not speaking.
Right.
But I don't know. And I mean, maybe like more things are going to happen, but I know that there's been kind of talk of, are they going to do a reboot? But how do they do a full-on New Jersey without Teresa being involved and Melissa being involved? Because even if you take those people out, everybody else that's in this show is only talking about them.
I know. And it's like, I don't know how. That's why I feel like these reality shows lately have been so draining, because they are just like dragging and talking about the same thing over and over again. And it's like, I don't know, it just feels like you're not servicing the fans in the right way. Like if it comes up and is a part of it, but just to keep like drudging this thing out and then commercials, and then it's like, what is the point?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally like so many feuds that I've seen in these episodes are, well, you're talking to Teresa and you're supposed to be my friend.
Right.
It's like, what are you doing? Like, this is your point of contention?
I know. It's like, I don't know.
It's just so silly because, like, I know that would be, like, a real point of drama in your life. But, like, just, isn't it exhausting for them to also be, like, constantly rehashing?
And then a year later, you have to sit down with all these people and talk about it again, which you probably have moved on.
But that's the thing, like the big scandal of them not doing a reunion.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, I can see how they can't do a reunion because like Melissa and Teresa can barely be in the same room together. And now Margaret also hates Teresa. And there's all these people where it's like the feuds are so deep, and I just don't think that there's going to be a resolution anytime soon. So like, why have a reunion? It's going to be a bloodbath.
I know. And at this point, the reunions on other shows have felt like pointless.
Yeah,
and
they really have.
Dumb and like.
Well, and because back like earlier in Housewives years, it really did feel like a lot of times in reunions there would be blow-ups and whatever, but then there would be some sort of resolution.
Yeah, it's like there's no resolutions anymore.
So then you would feel like, okay, we're going into the next season kind of fresh.
And they'd have like time to like, you know what, I will apologize for this. This is how I was feeling
and they're
at
not
that
doing
time.
That now.
No.
So this, if they sat down in a New Jersey reunion, it would be a complete disaster. And I don't know what to believe. Like, I do think that
it got too much.
Like everything with Louis and Teresa. Like, I do believe that they are conniving. I think that Teresa has been in this for so long that like she's kind of like lost in the sauce a little bit too, with like planning stories and getting like, I just think, I mean,
there's no other way to live.
Yeah, I think it's probably bound to happen. And Jersey has always been like the most dramatic of all the housewife
and I felt
franchises.
like there would have been that same familial drama happening, whether it would have been, but it wouldn't have been because Melissa was on Teresa's show.
I know, it would have been something else. Yeah. And it also is just kind of sad because I never really liked Melissa that much. I never liked Joe Gorga. Like there was something about him. He irks me. And Melissa is just like a little bit annoying. Like Teresa can be annoying too. So it's not like I'm fully on one side or the other. But it's just like, it's sad that a family is fully broken. I know, like, that's why
I would watched it, in the beginning, and then I stopped because it was too much with the family. Like, that just feels icky. But it was like, but they would kind of like get over, they like talk again and stuff. And then, but it's like, I don't know, that doesn't make me happy to watch the demise of a family.
But it always was like that because everything with the Manzos, like it always was so like intertwined. And that's what I think made Jersey be so good, was that things did feel really real with these like heated Italian families. But I don't know. And the one thing that I think is nice, like, so they had this like charity baseball game or whatever, and everybody's at it. Well, if this was planted or not, I don't know. But it turned out that like Teresa and Melissa had gotten there at the same time with their families. And Melissa, sometimes I don't know if she like does it just to give herself clout or if it's genuine, but she had her son with her and she's like, go over and give your aunt a kiss. So it's like, I think that they try to keep the kids out of it, but it's hard when the energy from the two of you is so hateful.
And when it's like public.
And then like the Gorga's oldest daughter was going to college and having her 18th birthday, and Joe's like getting emotional because Melissa's family is all there and they've welcomed him with open arms, and he's like, it's sad that my family can't be here. I'm like, well, that's choices that both of you have made. Like, honestly, both of you have been so horrible to each other over the years. It's like, it had to be you actually talk about it like civilized adults, or you literally just don't speak. And now that the parents are no longer living, it's like there was no reason for them to even try to make amends. I don't know. It's just, I'm gonna like I'll probably, once I get caught up, I'll just wait and then binge the rest of it. But it's just, I don't know what they're going to do next. And I feel that way with kind of a lot of the Housewives franchises right now.
They gotta get them out quicker and stop being so manufactured.
And I think they have to do something about social media and going on podcasts. Like Bravo needs to lock that up.
I know they have to figure out something. And I know they're like spitting out shows constantly. And then it's like, well, you didn't make the Orange County girls do this, but you're making, us do it. But they do like, or else it's just gonna like, because it's just not fun to watch, especially like why would I watch the show when I could see a clip on TikTok of
I know, or like
they're saying
listen to like two podcasts from cast members.
Like, no, I know.
Yeah, like I don't want, like Bravo needs to like own the property of the podcasts if they're gonna like continue with that, or they need to change their contracts,
or like they have to talk about something else on their podcast, like any other topics, or have guests on and talk about other stuff, because it's like,
or they can only talk about the episodes after they've aired. I don't know, but like it is just too much. It's ruining the shows, like it fully is.
It is. And then when they flat out say, well, this was my storyline, or I did that for, like, it's like if you look bad, it's like, well, that was because I needed a storyline.
Yeah,
like we saw that with just the recent shows. But
so anyway, I'm not gonna like watch that every week. I'll wait, but it is just,
it was a lot. I just remember watching the reunion of last year, and I'm like,
same.
What
it was a lot. It was a lot. I know.
Private investigator.
Well, because everybody said they were like, you can just watch the reunion without watching the season, and I did that, and I was like, whoa, like this is so much. And there was a couple episodes ago of Juicy Scoop. Heather was talking about Jersey, and she was like, this is honestly like getting kind of scary, and I don't feel that way. Like the private investigator stuff, I think, is so stupid and weird for somebody to do.
Yeah, it was just so weird.
Yeah, I do think it's like an invasion of privacy, especially when they were like, kids that don't want to be a part of the show were getting phone calls on the stuff.
Or like I can see where, like, if I found out my coworker was like having somebody stalk me or something, I don't know, that'd be like insane. I'd be like, what is wrong with you? Like, get a life.
Because of how insane Jersey has always been, it's like expected in my mind.
Right.
But like then, I mean, people have brought up a lot with like the Dina Manzo thing and how like her ex-husband was just recently convicted of, he did like plan that and pay somebody to, a hitman practically. I mean, that is scary, but they're not even on the show anymore.
Right.
Like that level stuff is not happening.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway, that's all that I wanted to say about that. But it's just interesting to think about just the trajectory of Bravo in general. And like, I really like, things have to change for it to continue being good.
I know, because it's not fun to watch fake things, and then the repetitive every episode. It's like, can we move on? Yeah. It's like, because there's not genuine relationships anymore.
I know.
When there was, it was like we were getting a new fight every time. We were having a genuine continuation of a fight. Yeah. But we don't have that anymore.
No, we don't. So anyway, well, that's kind of all I have. I think we can wrap it up. Yep. It's so good to be back together. We had a lot to chat about. Yeah, you guys know the drill. Thanks for listening. Make sure to follow us on everything. Give us that rating. Give us that review. Tell your friends about us. That would be great. If all of our people that listen would tell a friend, we would have 20 listeners.
We would have 2 listeners.
But yeah, please do try to spread the word, and we will be back on our regular schedule. Oh wait, we didn't do recommendations. Do you have one?
I can, yeah.
I was just gonna say the Iron Claw for me. Okay. It's a great watch. If you didn't get a chance to see it in theaters, check it out on Prime. And
you have to pay for it, but
but it is worth it. I think this could get
Challengers
some buzz.
is on there too.
Ooh,
but you have to pay for it.
Damn. They get us.
I was gonna say, turn it on
They
now.
get us. We didn't pay in theaters and now we have to pay. It is, not to divulge on streaming services, but I can't remember what podcast I was listening to. And they were talking about streaming and how ridiculous it is that, like, if we pay for a service, we still have ads. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it used to be like I would be on TV and watching it live and there would be ads, and then you went to streaming because there weren't ads.
Now they're just slipping them right back in because people don't have. I know there's, I think because me and my husband watched the movie Old. Oh, yeah. But it was on Prime, but it was on their free leave. It's like some kind of weird, but you get ads when you're watching
Which takes you out of the movie.
Yeah, it's like, what?
Yeah, I know. And like even with Prime or like, you know, they'll have like the Hulu extension of like HBO or whatever. It's like, okay, so you're showing me all these things are there and I think it's available for me to watch. But then I click it and it's like $21.
Yeah, it's like pay a little extra. It's like, are you kidding me? Yeah. And like sometimes the movies that you like buy on the streaming service are like insane. Yeah, like I could go to Walmart and get this for $5.
I know, and it's crazy.
I have to buy a DVD player.
Yeah, but still, yeah, I don't even have a slot in my computer to play it. Anyway, what was your recommendation?
I'm gonna recommend the Blue Lizard sunscreen.
Oh, I saw that over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fun. The other kind, like just the bottle, it'll like turn pink in the sun when you should put sunscreen on.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so it's kind of like cute for kids, but it's for adults too. But it's like, oh, you know, I thought that was fun, but the kids did not get sunburnt. The only time I got sunburnt was when I was putting it on my back and missed a section on my back. I know, and then I like you could see
your
like,
hand,
you can still
your
see
fingers.
it.
Yeah, I hate that.
I know, but so other than that, no sunburn. It is a mineral sunscreen, but I do feel like it dries pretty good.
That's
like even
good.
my husband said something. It's like, I mean, you're still like a little white.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
but
to
it's
have a
not
cast.
bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it dries pretty good and like rubs in pretty good, which is nice because I've used some mineral ones that you're like, I can't even get it off shaving.
Yeah, it's thick. Yeah.
And then I'll be like, it's a spray. And then it's literally like,
glob.
I'm like, okay, thank you, but no.
Yeah, that doesn't work. I don't care how well it protects me.
I'll look crazy.
Oh. All right. Well, anyway, yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.